What's good, everybody? Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys are preparing physically, mentally, and spiritually for the dark times that are ahead of us, and hope you guys are getting right with God and staying strong. Got some more important information to share with you guys today. And of course, days after, or not days after, but one day after I make a community post about this right here on my community page here on this platform, YouTube, right? All of a sudden, this right here happens. And this just came out today, but I'm going to make this video very short and quick. But of course, folks, as you guys can see, they're ramping up this whole thing with this game plan, right? They're ramping it up like crazy as time goes on. And we are literally starting to see more and more of these types of things happening. And it's just more evidence right here that every time they do some type of exercise, you know, it's always moments later, days later, weeks later, months later, you know, whatever the case may be, right? Every single time they do some type of exercise, something related to the thing that they did an exercise on eventually happens, and they make it seem like one big problem, right? And we're seeing more and more of that as time goes on. And it says EU to stage large-scale cyber attack exercise on supply chains, which is actually breaking down as we speak. And it says European Union governments will launch later this week a large-scale simulation of cyber attacks against multiple member states. Participants will be confronted with attacks on their supply chains and some spillover socioeconomic effects in other member states before having to coordinate public communications and a diplomatic response, according to people familiar with the matter and documents seen by Bloomberg. The aim of the 6-week exercise is to stress test Europe's resilience, strengthen preparedness and cooperation among member states, and improve the effectiveness of a joint response. Now, you guys remember as well that recently Israel actually simulated with 10 countries, right? Simulated a major cyber attack on the financial system, on the global financial system, right? Now, we're starting to hear more and more about cyber attacks in this year in 2022, and it just started literally 2 weeks ago. But we're already starting to hear so many more things about it, and this agenda is ramping up, and you can best believe that it's going to continue ramping up because they've told you what they're planning on doing with this. The World Economic Forum on their own website with the whole cyber polygon thing, right? That they've been talking about since 2020, has even talked about the whole thing with, you know, the cyber attacks on supply chains, right? And you can even go on their website and look that up, and you'll see that they even have documentation talking about targeting or supply chains targeting, or not supply chains, but cyber attacks targeting supply chains. That's what I meant to say. So, yeah, I don't want to make this video that long. I'm just coming on here really quickly just to let you guys know that they're ramping up this agenda more and more and more. And supposedly today, Ukraine got hit by a massive cyber attack on their government websites. Now, I want you guys to understand this right here really quickly before I end the video, that these guys are not against each other. Russia and Ukraine, I want you guys to understand these people are not actually against each other. And this whole thing with them, you know, supposedly being enemies and whatnot, it's just like the political theater with the left to right paradigm, right? When you see all these puppets pretending to be against each other, right? But in reality, there's literally documented photos of them having a great time behind closed doors, having a great time, shaking hands, right? Hugging each other, you know, etc., right? And it's just like with this thing right here too, right? Let me just show you guys something real quick. Just another perfect example of what I'm referring to. And it amazes me how anybody can still trust this Jesuit-educated clown anyways, but Just like this right here, right? You guys know that these guys they constantly pretend to be against each other, and they constantly pretend that they hate each other, right? But there's literally photos of them having a great time, smiling and taking photos, right? You know, that's a perfect example of what I'm referring to. And it's just the same thing with these countries too, and their world leaders or their country leaders. You know, when they sit there and act like they're enemies, it's all one big show, folks. So don't forget about that either. And just understand that this is all a part of the script, and this is all a part of the game plan, every single thing that they're doing and coming out with. And it says Ukraine has been hit by a massive cyber attack with the websites of several government departments, including the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Education Ministry, knocked out. Officials said it was too early to draw any conclusions, but they pointed to a long record of you-know-what cyber assaults against Ukraine, with the attack coming after security talks between Moscow and the U.S. and its allies this week ended in a stalemate, whatever that means. But yeah, folks, thank you guys for watching this video. Please share the video far and wide. And you can expect them to continue ramping up this entire game plan right here. It's already happening. If you're paying attention, you can see it. Of course, they decide to do more and more of this, right, while the supply chain is already being broken down as we speak. But keep preparing yourselves, folks, because the next one, just remember, the next one's going to make everything we've seen in 2020 and 2021 look like it was just nothing in comparison. Just like what Klaus Schwab told you. You guys remember that video where he talked about it, right? But I thank you guys for watching this video, and I'm out.